Paul Rosenblum is a bookkeeper, not an accountant or a CPA. Although the information in this podcast comes from professionals, it's meant to give you enough knowledge about these subjects to have a meaningful dialogue with your tax preparer about bookkeeping and taxing.
Hello there, and welcome to another episode in the podcast. In part one of this two-part episode, I spoke about the client toolkit, as I call it, and today I will be talking about the toolkit for a self-employed bookkeeper mostly. However, I will speak about a bookkeeper who is employed as a W-2 worker. I'm a little older and a little grayer and still recovering from tax season, but I'm still Paul Rosenblum. Since I am writing this right after tax season ended on April 15, the last episode and this one might signify a new beginning for clients and bookkeepers alike. Many small business clients don't even start their books until after the tax season, either because their bookkeeper is busy with bookkeeping that will be filed without an extension, or the client is in flux with their bookkeeping and accounting team. This week, let's talk about a new beginning from the bookkeeper's viewpoint. Self-employed bookkeepers and accountants, for that matter, usually right after tax season, reevaluate their clientele as well as their in-house staff and generally how they operate after the April 15 tax filing, April 18 first quarter estimate payments, April 20th monthly sales tax payments, as well as a quarterly payroll is filed. Existing firms sometimes trim their clientele by walking away from the lowest revenue to the firm clients, and they and we reevaluate subcontractors or employees as well as the software used, but mostly accounting firms rather than bookkeepers on that one. Let's talk more specifically about self-employed bookkeepers. One, independent bookkeepers not only reevaluate their businesses, but also reevaluate where we are in life outside of the office. How many clients do we want? Are we charging the right hourly or monthly rate? Should we move to a smaller or a larger office or stay put where we are? Number two, self-employed bookkeepers also trim their clientele sometimes by walking away from clients who cause extra stress, clients who can't afford to pay more than they're already paying and who would know better than their bookkeeper, slow payers, clients who don't get back with information needed by the bookkeeper in a timely manner, and as mentioned in prior episodes, for one example, a client who does not give their bookkeeper access to their bank or credit card accounts. As a side note, it's the hardest thing that I do, and through the years I haven't done it often enough, and that is walk away from a client. It's the freelance mindset. Don't walk away from revenue. However, if I know that a client is doing something illegal, I will walk away from them the day after their taxes have been filed. This year, I'm trimming my client list in order to open up more time to work on this podcast, for an example. And I realize that as I get closer and closer to the beginning of my 8th decade in life, I don't want to work 65 hours a week during tax season ever again. So I am really reevaluating my business and my life, which has for many years been one and the same. Yeah, I admit it. No! Number three, self-employed bookkeepers also look at the systems that they have been using and make any necessary tweaks to it. This includes not just the bookkeeping system itself, but possibly the software used, or maybe even starting to learn new software, or even integrating online software to automate certain actions. Number four, being a self-employed bookkeeper gives one the opportunity to work only with clients or the kind of businesses that interest you or want to work with. Some bookkeepers don't really care, but I, for one, have to be interested in the business and like the person who owns it to feel comfortable doing their bookkeeping. So this time of year allows the bookkeeper to refocus on their business and go back to why they wanted to be a self-employed bookkeeper in the first place. There is, however, a totally different part of the toolbox, and that's the utility belt. My 1966 Batman reference, sorry about that. The actual physical tools that a bookkeeper needs to have. Number one, a comfortable home office. Forgetting about the tax deduction for a home office, a bookkeeper has to have a quiet, safe, comfortable place to work that's a separate room for all of their stuff, just like a therapist has a separate room for therapy sessions. If that doesn't work, then a separate office, not at home, might be the way to go. Number two, a good PC or Mac that isn't too old. You don't want a computer crashing and losing any information that you didn't back up. Part of keeping the computer in good shape is to maintain it. Run scans of the software and make sure that there are no viruses or spyware, and make sure that the computer is as secure as it can be. The last computer that I purchased was about 1.5 years ago, and I got a Lenovo with a Ryzen chip in it, which is way more speed than I would ever need for bookkeeping, but it was a sale that I just couldn't say no to. And it does help productivity when I'm using QuickBooks Online or just looking something up that I'm inputting into a client's books. The PC zooms across the internet faster than any computer that I have ever had. But I digress yet again. Number three, maybe I don't need to say this, but I will anyway. Get a good calculator. Make sure it has the features that you need, it's the right size, the right weight, and the number keys and the display is exactly what you want. Difficult to purchase online, as you might want to do a look and see in person. Number four, get yourself a comfortable mouse. I use a wireless mouse, but wired is fine too. Just get one, if you are a bookkeeper, that you feel very comfortable with, as your hand and your fingers will have an intimate relationship with it. Number five, make sure you have a good backup system. The last thing you would ever want is for your computer to die and not have a backup of all of your clients' databases. Get an external hard drive or save the data to the cloud. Number six, reevaluate what actual hours you will be working for your clients. Are you a 9-to-5 person, or are you, like I have been for years, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the office, or 7 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. during tax season in the office, and picking up phone calls until 8 or 9 o'clock from home from clients? Or are you going to separate, a lot better than I do, home life from business life? If you are a W-2 bookkeeper employee, you might want to reevaluate things as well. However, most of the time, if you're comfortable being an employee working a straightforward schedule, you might not have the mindset for freelance work. And benefits such as 401k, health insurance, as well as other perks are really nice too. I have personally never been good in office politics, so self-employment really works well for me. If you are an employee, you might want to evaluate if you're getting paid well enough for what you're doing, and is the company giving you all the tools that you need? If you are an employee working in a larger company, then they have their own systems in place. You just have to follow them. But if you're a bookkeeper working for a smaller company, then you can have a say in tweaking the system internally to make it easier and more efficient for you. Check out our new LinkedIn group, the Bookkeeper Venting Group, and just let your bookkeeping frustrations go. We will all listen and give you all the support that you need to get through the day or the week. The link is below. And just an unrelated note, one of the most popular episodes on this podcast and on the YouTube channel is the Chart of Accounts, episode number 7. And since it was done originally in 2022, when I was still a podcast newbie, it has been suggested to me that I redo it and update that episode with more specific and robust information. So that's what's up in the next episode. That also might be a multi-part as well, so stay tuned. Sign up for the newsletter with the link below and drop me a line at bookkeepermensch@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. That's it for this week. If you're a bookkeeper, take some deep breaths and let them out. Tax season is over, except for my bookkeeper friend in Canada, but it's almost over for you too, so hang in. I'm cutting down my hours, and I'll be in your earbuds next time. I'm Paul Rosenblum.